Hello, Luc here. I would just like to take a moment to disclose upfront that we sometimes talk about sensitive topics in our podcasts, and in fairness to our audience, we will try our best to put specific warnings in the descriptions of each episode. Now on with the show.
I never rot, I'm made of bone. The Pumpkin King sulks alone. They build me up, oh so tall, but I can't stand another fall. I took a walk, found a door, no idea what it stored. What is this? What's going on? The joy made me burst into song. I never caroled, rarely sang. Christmas just holds such better ways with which I really jive. No one's dead, everything's alive. The snow is white and made of ice. Nothing scary, everything is nice. I couldn't wait till I got home to celebrate this on my own.
Nice, man. That was...
It was Adam's Song by Blink-182.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
It did sound familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was banking on Javier being here, and he's not.
We'll speak for Javier in voices.
Exactly.
Yeah. And welcome to the Nostalgia Killers podcast, where we revisit films from our youth to see if they still hold up or should be inserted into the great DVD player in the sky. I'm Luc Londe, joined once again, almost as always, by Chuck Starzenski.
Almost as always, like a fungus, you can pour bleach on me. I will not go away. I am still here. I am still growing spores.
And absolutely nobody else.
That's right.
We're going back to the beginning of the podcast here, where it's just me and Chuck.
It's a throwback episode, ladies, gentlemen, theys, and thems.
And for this episode, we watched The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah. And then I was wondering if, speaking of a throwback, you want to just bring it back to the elevator pitch? I've got an elevator pitch.
Yeah, I have one written down, and I was going to just take the piss, really, but go for it.
Absolutely. That's why, no trailer. We'll just keep it going. After stumbling upon the concept of Christmas, Jack Skellington tries to bring the holiday spirit to Halloween Town.
I was going to say something about how Jack's really bored of Halloween and listless and trying to find this meaning in life. So he has to culturally appropriate somebody else's.
Oh, that's my hot take. That's in my hot take section. Don't worry. I've got my, liberal arts degree college thesis coming later.
Right on.
This movie taught me about, the feeling and concept of ennui and being a sad, sad white boy.
Yeah. I was trying to think, a lot of these movies are modeled on, previous works like Shakespeare and other. I was trying to think of, it's not quite Hamlet. There's something else. There's another story where it's just they're the best at their game and everybody loves them, but they're so sad.
Yeah. I think it's just the concept of fame, basically.
Yeah.
It's that feeling of like, okay, you've made it. Now what?
What's the clown, Pagliani or? Pagliari.
Oh God! If Robert were here, he would strangle both of us.
I know. Totally.
I was gonna say,
but I am Pagliani or
Pagliocci. I know. Hold on.
I say we just leave it and let people hate us for it.
Yeah. Anyways,
sorry I brought that up. But,
that's okay.
But yeah, I got the feeling watching this again. I haven't watched this in a long time, but I got the feeling that this was borrowing plot points from something more august. Something like you should know from school or something.
Pagliacci. It was on the tip of my tongue.
I was close.
Yeah. But yeah, since it's just the two of us, let's just back and forth this. What's your nostalgic attachment, Luke?
I don't remember watching this as a kid. I'm pretty sure I saw it, but I think I watched it more as an adult. I had roommates who were just big Tim Burton fans in my 20s. And we watched everything Tim Burton, and we watched Nightmare and Corpse Bride and Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands, everything. But yeah, I think that's like it. And it is a musical, and the musicals are totally not my thing. However, there's something to watch constantly during the musicals. There's this spectacular animation going on. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of fucking work.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if I realized just how much work back then that it is, but us now being filmmakers and knowing how much just even working with puppets and stuff is like stop motion's got to be insane.
Yeah, no, I as a small child, I remember wanting to be an animator, and then I think I saw like some kind of behind the scenes on like a cartoon that I was in love with, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something like that, and it's just like, yeah, and it's like over 100 hours go into 3 frames of, and it was just like, all right, I don't want to play anymore. I don't want to do that. I do not have the attention span to be an no, it cannot be an animator.
Tapping out.
Exactly.
Awesome. Hey,
tapped out at like 6. Yeah, I was like, nope. I thought flip books were hard. Apparently, there's a lot more to it than that. Okay.
How about your nostalgic attachment?
Yeah, my earliest memory of this movie was when I was probably like 4 years old, which I had a discussion with Robert the other day, Robert Neguesco, who frequent guest of the pod, and just about how your core memories and your earliest memories are like 3 and 4. Like that's kind of when you start actually being able to retain. So yeah, probably about 4 years old. We had a VHS copy of Aladdin, and there was a trailer for The Nightmare Before Christmas on it. And I remember being absolutely mesmerized by the trailer.
Nice. Because
I had never seen anything like it. It was definitely my introduction to stop motion, and I must have watched the trailer more than Aladdin itself. Like I just remember, like I can hear like the announcer voice, like coming fall of 1993, like like the music and everything. Yeah. But yeah, I eventually saw the movie and fell head over heels in love. This is hands down to this day my favorite Disney movie, which by the way still blows my mind that this is a Disney film.
Yeah, I was marveling at how dark it is.
Yeah.
And all the little jokes and jabs they got in. Your experience with Disney was a little different than mine. In the late 80s, they were leaning very Christian. Like it was very like be safe for everybody. And this just went whole 180. Like there's no way. I mean, back then Christians were protesting against Halloween because it was evil itself.
Exactly.
But then Disney went and made this. They put how much money and years into making this?
Into this devil film?
Yeah, exactly. And I was just blown away watching it again the other day. I don't remember it being this fucking dark.
Yeah, this was my introduction into the spooky, gothic, and macabre. Like this movie taught me not to judge a book by its cover, which is one of my favorite lessons that I learned as a kid from this movie. Because the characters are visually terrifying, but aside from Oogie Boogie, and you can even argue not even Oogie Boogie, they're not malicious.
Yep.
I think one of the most important quotes in the entire movie is during the This Is Halloween song. One of the, I think it's the clown dad. That's what I call that character. He's like the sad clown dad with like the undead son. He says, "It's our job, but we're not mean on this day of Halloween." Yeah. And yeah, it's like just kind of reiterating that like, yeah, this is just who we are. Doesn't mean that we're malicious or evil and have any ill will against you. It's just we're kind of spooky looking.
But if you play it backwards, it says "Hail Satan."
Exactly.
Yeah.
This movie also, this movie's been just such an influence on me that it's nothing short of a miracle that I don't have an abusive boyfriend with matching Jack and Sally sleeve tattoos. Like by all accounts, I should be wearing my Cookie Monster PJs, waiting for my guy to come out of 7-Eleven with a new vape cartridge for us. And lucked out there. I mean, there's still time.
Let's keep hoping.
Exactly. Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Stay vigilant. Yeah.
Those pencil beards, they'll get you. But what are some of your favorite scenes, Luke?
So many. There's obviously the spirally little cliff thing in front of the moon. That's like so well done. Yeah. Rewatching it again, like what popped out in my memories the most was the frog's breath frog popping out of the jar. It's an actual frog's breath. It's like that's so great. And just the look on the frogs, like again. Yeah.
Very like almost Flintstones-y, like, well, it's a living.
Yeah, exactly. Just love that tongue-in-cheek stuff. That's what I remember the most. And like Mr. Mayer's head, the way it's a Janus and it turns like when he's happy or sad. And it's like, that's pretty much it for me though.
I have 3 scenes to go through, but I think the most nostalgic thing is the texture and the lighting of this movie. Like, I think that's also what drew me in. Because it was like, as a small child, it was like my first concept and introduction of, stop motion. The texture and the lighting, like you can almost feel every single scene. Like you can, you feel the warmth, the cold. You can you want to reach out and touch the pillows of smoke coming off of the locomotive. Like, it's just like, every single thing is so visually appealing and just gorgeous, and just, it's the definition of eye candy.
Yeah.
If I had to pick scenes, number one is This Is Halloween. The intro is just like, I don't know, that could have been a short film of just like, oh yeah, this is a fun little kind of thing Disney made for, $250,000 that's 15 minutes, and this is what we got. Then there's Something's Up with Jack, just like inspecting the Christmas items. Like, I love because I don't know, as a kid I owned a microscope and all that, so it's just like the inquisitive nature of just kind of like looking at the single holly berry until it cracks. And then Making Christmas is just like, which I'll go into more depth on Making Christmas when we get to Roger Deakins. But that's just like that whole bit of just like them, basically just doing a facsimile of something they have no concept of. Yeah. And just like, like.
I love how that turned out. I love, it's not, it's still dark.
Yeah.
It's very, very dark.
It's like, dude, I get stung by scorpions all the time. It's kind of fun. Like, I'm just going to put it in this bomb, I'm going to stun it and throw it in this box. It's going to be really pissed off when it gets awake. But and just like the sight gags are so fun. Still
the concept that it's a Disney film. Still so baffling.
Exactly.
That this even happened.
Yeah, and then as long as we're just in the gush center, just Danny Elfman getting to soundtrack an entire Disney film. If you were to throw in, an accordion, you basically just have an unearthed, oh my God, Oingo Boingo. There we go. I drew a blank for a second. But you almost have like an additional Oingo Boingo album.
This is relatively early in his career.
Mm-hmm.
When was Oingo Boingo? It started in like 77, I think.
Yeah, I think they dissolved like probably around the time of this film. Like, he had kind of I think they were about to do a farewell tour in the early 90s.
Right on.
I don't have my facts.
Well, I didn't look him up that much either, but I do know that he's a phenomenal composer. That's he has that innate talent to do that thing. No,
I'll go ahead and throw a later fun fact in right here. He's gone on record, Danny Elfman, saying that this was the quickest piece of music he ever wrote. Mm-hmm. Like, he wrote this entire album, I think, in, I don't know, like a month or something like that.
Yeah, I think he said like 3 weeks.
Yeah, it all just came to him too, because he identified with Jack Skellington so much, because he has,
because they had to do, this is part of beginning of production, so they had to have the voiceovers and the music done first, so that they can animate to it. To make music and do all that to just nothing but sketches, that's talent, man. That's unbelievable. It's a lot of talent.
Pressure too, to like really develop, because the characters are so well developed, and like there's such life and depth and warmth in everybody, that it's like even you mentioned that one of my favorite characters is the mayor.
Yeah.
Like, he's making such excellent choices, like, and with having not seen a puppet made, you're just like, oh yeah, like that's a vague sketch of like, okay, he's going to have a pointy head. And I don't even know if like the swivel came because of the voice acting, or, if that was already canon.
I know that for the art department, they made this thing come alive. There's no doubt. But like, how much of it was designed by the music and the voiceovers? Because they had to follow the music and the voiceovers.
Exactly.
That's crazy to think about now.
Yeah.
Nitpicks?
I've got a couple. There were like, one is a real, and then everything else is actual nitpicks.
Okay, I got fake ones, so go for it.
My only real one, and sorry if this is anybody's favorite, but Sally's song kind of sucks.
Oh, really?
Well, it just like, although ethereal and beautiful, it just lacks the musical flair and gusto of the rest of the numbers, just because just in comparison, it is a B-side for sure. And then also it's not done justice, because the animation for that scene just kind of falls flat. Like, every other musical number, you've got these fantastic, like, doesn't matter if it's like Jack's Lament, for example. He gets he gets his parallel of a Sally song.
Yeah.
You get one of the most iconic shots in the fucking movie of the hillside unraveling.
Yeah.
You get him walking through a graveyard. You get like truly introduced to Zero following Jack. Sally gets to kind of sulk outside of the home that she's a prisoner of. Yeah. And like, she kind of waves to the musicians, and then otherwise she's just sitting down. So that's why, like, I don't know, that is one of the only, and again, this is a nitpick in the sense that I still love Sally's song, but it's just like, it's the only thing that really truly kind of just drops in the movie.
I can see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I thought your cutting down Sally, but you're cutting down the people who wrote it and
yeah, no, and
the
even then,
Sally.
and I'm like, even backing up the musicality, like the song itself is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a great song. It's just, it doesn't have the massive tempo change that every other number has. And then it doesn't have you don't see Oogie Boogie throwing knives at Sally while she does 9 backflips. So it's less memorable in that sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then everything else is just kind of more unanswered questions and nitpicks for me. So if you have anything else you want to jump in with.
I just thought this was sadly, it's no one's fault, but it's sadly missing Vincent Price.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing. Watching it, I was like, after doing a little studying and realizing that he passed away just before they started doing all that stuff. Just imagine what it would have been if Vincent was in it, because he's in Edward Scissorhands and Vincent. Man,
imagine him just Thriller laughing.
Yeah, exactly.
Just.
I think there would have been more narration if Vincent was in it.
Well, good. I'll try to save some of I'll bite my tongue here, but there was supposed to be narration.
There was a little bit. I mean, somebody did. It wasn't.
It's on the soundtrack, but it doesn't make it into the final cut of the film.
I think it starts at the beginning of the movie. It's a little bit. There's a voiceover. It's really tiny.
Patrick Stewart apparently did a massive intro and outro to the film that then just is on the cutting room floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then they're not even nitpicks. They're just like, well, the biggest nitpick, actually, I take back the Sally thing. That's an actual nitpick. The biggest glaring problem with this movie is Henry Selick isn't credited in the introduction credits.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we can get into this now, but there's a whole fight over who made this movie, because Tim Burton didn't, quotes, direct the movie.
No.
It's his idea, and he did a lot of producing, but Selick was the one who was technically there directing. And I watched the behind the scenes, and there's this great moment where the interviewer, you don't hear the question, but they obviously asked Selick, what did you do on this movie? And Selick was like, well, the idea was Tim's, of course, and he's trying to say that he had a part in this movie.
Yeah.
But nobody says it's, Selick's, Nightmare Before Christmas. It's Tim Burton's, and it's it's in the title.
I know. That's...
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. No, that's the most frustrating. That's the glaring nitpick.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I just got 2 other questions that are unanswered is, why does Sally have a prophetic vision of Christmas falling apart and failing? Other than just to move the plot along. But where does that, because she never has visions other than that one moment where she's playing with the leaf and then it becomes a Christmas tree and then it catches fire.
I think going back to the Christian thing, I think that part got cut down a bit. Mm-hmm. At least in the writing, with Halloween, there's the witches and there's all that stuff. And with a lot of naturalism and stuff like that, there is the prophetic, powers people claim to have.
Exactly.
And I think she was supposed to be more endowed with
a bit more Wiccan kind of.
Yeah. That kind of thing. And it just if you're not watching it and maybe have 2 brain cells to rub together to understand that that's what that meant when that happened, you're just looking at a stick turned into a Christmas tree and then it burned.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just wasn't developed. Yeah.
It was just kind of there.
Yeah.
And then my only other nitpick is, how does Jack get to our world on Christmas? And then, because he stumbles into Christmas through a doorway and whatnot, and we see there's doorways to all the other holidays. So if he can come to our world on Christmas to deliver presents, does he ever visit our world on Halloween? Because it seems like on Halloween, they do their own kind of big shindig where they party and dress up as a burning pumpkin. And
I think it was the hat.
Yeah.
I think the magic, because the magic is in the hat, just like in the songs. And
so it's just once Santa's hat.
Yeah, and once Jack has the hat, he's able to do all the Santa powers. That's how I read it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I also know better than to ask those questions.
No, I know. That's why I always try to have something for every answer. So my real nitpick was basically Henry fucking Selick was not credited, and also Sally's song is kind of
yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. You got any other nitpicks?
I do, but we might get sued.
That's okay.
I'm going to save it for my hot take.
Okay.
I think I wrote it as my hot take. But yeah, I'll save it for that. But rainy day pairing, double feature.
Because there's just the 2 of us. I could have 2, I guess, technically.
Yeah, we should both take 2.
Yeah. So I purposely left it on the table because I was trying to assuming there was more guests. But if I was going to go with just a low hanging fruit, I would do another Henry Selick film, and I would do James the Giant Peach.
Nice.
Which is, just like, I remember this movie floored me, but then as James the Giant Peach, like when that came out when I was in elementary school, I think we had literally, like, it was just like, it couldn't have been more perfect timing.
Yeah.
It was like 4th grade or something, somewhere around there. We just read James the Giant Peach.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, wow, that was such a fun, quirky, imaginative book. And then all of a sudden, like, they're making a movie about the book I just read and it comes out on Friday? Holy fucking shit. Yeah, so that was super fun. Like, just having the entire James the Giant Peach experience in the course of, the month or whatever that we studied that book, and then the movie came out. So
yeah, I still need to watch that movie. I remember the book fondly from elementary school.
It's great. It's up there for, as far as like Roald Dahl adaptations. I would say like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is my number 1, but that's my number 2 for sure. It's so good, and it does the fun kind of thing of seamlessly blending the stop motion sequences with the live action bits, and it's just
right on. I really haven't seen that. I really haven't seen that.
It's a marvel as far as just like, you should watch it just from like someone who appreciates animation and whatnot. It's just a marvel of how they put the thing together.
Yeah. What's your second one?
My second one is more of a wild card. My second one is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That's just more of a weird personal connection.
Sure.
My reasoning for that is I just get a similar level of sheer joy and excitement over the effect and animation work. Like, this is more of a labor of financial gain, but Killer Clowns is just such a labor of love.
Yeah.
That like every single frame of that movie just like steeps and stinks of just like, we made this movie because we really wanted to make this movie.
Those guys didn't get paid, and they worked in a garage rather than a studio.
Exactly.
Yeah. For sure. Mine is the short film Vincent. I saw it well after this, into my 20s or whatever. One of the films that made me want to actually just jump in and make movies.
Really?
Yeah. Because it was short and it was, it was relatively easy. And like I thought, I could do that,
naively.
Naively. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. But yeah, I still love it. I watch it every Halloween. I have a copy of it.
I've never seen it.
You haven't seen it?
No, dude, you should send it to me. I actually was like,
it's like 8 minutes long. It's narrated by Vincent Price. It's written by Tim Burton, animated by Tim Burton. It's great.
Which also, speaking of naivete, like that's what led him to this project of being like, oh yeah, stop motion. We'll do that. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 years.
3 years. Yeah, exactly.
3 years. Fucking hell. Now, my other one would be Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
I would just go watch that. It would have been Beetlejuice, but we did that recently, so I'd go watch Edward. And then, this movie's Cocktail.
Well, in honor of The Nightmare Before Christmas, I figure we should honor the true Nightmare Before Christmas, which is Thanksgiving. Because there's nothing more frightening than having your relatives over. So for this week's cocktail, we have the Turkey Door. So we have 1.5 ounces of a certain 101 proof Poultry-themed whiskey that does not sponsor this podcast, so I will not name them. Let's just say they're a little feral. We've got 1 ounce of lemon. We've got 1 ounce of cranberry sauce simple syrup, which I made by mixing canned cranberry, sugar, water, a little bit of lemon zest. We have a sprig of rosemary and a sprig of thyme, dash of Angostura bitters. Shake everything, including the herbs. Strain over fresh ice and give thanks that Jack picked the right door and didn't stumble back into Halloween with your drunk aunt and racist grandpa in tow.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like it.
Thank you. Yeah, it was one of those drinks that was like, I think was better in concept than creation, but it's not bad. It's solid.
No, it was a little surprise at first because the cranberry and the lemon.
Yeah.
But once you know that it's in there, it's like, those are good. Those are good.
It's also just like, working with real cranberry instead of quote unquote real cranberry because it's canned, but working with cranberry instead of cranberry juice was also just like, okay, we gotta fix this one.
Chuck spent last month in Massachusetts stealing cranberries, floating around in the bogs.
Exactly. I was bogging it up.
To bring back and make his own cocktail. Thank you very much, Chuck.
You're welcome. Ad break.
And we're back with Act 2, The Evidence Board. So this was released on just before Halloween, 1993. Mm-hmm. And Chuck's got some relevant movies that came out around the same time.
Yeah, also in October, you've got Cool Runnings, Demolition Man, Rudy, And the Beverly Hillbillies. So that kind of gives you an idea of the context of 93.
Yeah. I actually had the actual Rudy came to my high school and spoke. Like he was a motivational speaker. like after the movie got big, that was like what the actual Rudy was doing. He wasn't playing football anymore. So, yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I got to meet the actual Rudy.
Hell yeah.
Not Sean. I kind of wish I met Sean Astin instead.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's a way better story. Like just It's like, no, dude, you can't. Yeah.
I gotta watch that movie again. That's I remember it being okay, like good.
Yeah.
But I watched it as a kid. I haven't watched it since it came out.
I have not seen it. It's just on that list of movies that like...
It's that underdog sports movie.
Exactly.
It's that same thing from the 90s that, you've seen one, you've seen them all.
Exactly. I was going to say, it's on that laundry list of movies that I feel like the culture educated me on the plot of that movie, so I don't have to see it. It's like if you had not seen Star Wars by now, you're like, oh, I know what Star Wars is.
And I think it was right before Toy Soldiers or that other Sean Astin movie where the school gets taken over by terrorists.
Oh, what is that? I think that is Toy Soldiers.
I think it's Toy Soldiers. Another great movie.
Did the terrorists from Toy Soldiers come and speak at your school too?
No.
Oh man.
Yeah. But yeah. So this Nightmare, go back to Nightmare, cost $18 million, 3 years. What was it? They used how many studios?
Oh, I've got that right here. So yeah, the animations took 3 years, 120 workers.
That's right.
20 separate sound stages.
20. And
227 puppets.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Nobody, that's unimaginable these days.
I know.
There's no production company that would put that much behind an idea.
Mm-mm.
Oh my God.
Dude, he was throwing the Beetlejuice coal into the train. It was just like, yeah.
Yep. And this was like the showing everybody else how to do it too. Like
exactly.
from here onward, like studios tried to copy this, and like anytime there's a huge animation thing, they put a lot of money and time into it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, they worked for a little while. Grossed 87 million, 101 worldwide.
101 worldwide, yeah.
I can't imagine what the DVDs and VHS sales were.
Exactly.
It's got to be close to $1 billion.
Oh, yeah. This became like massive IP.
Yeah.
Like, as I said, me and my, 7-Eleven boyfriend, like we both would have, just from tattoo sales alone, just from, cool car seat covers and decals for your steering wheel and, all your fun accessories that you get as an adult. Yeah.
Written by original idea by Tim Burton when he was a lowly animator at Disney. Develops and screenplay by I didn't write their names.
Michael McDowell and Carolyn Thompson. But apparently most of what Carolyn wrote was not used.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, which we'll get into some fun facts with that.
Directed by Henry Selick.
Damn right it was.
Go Henry. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Speaking of Old Timmy Boy, it's based on a 3-page poem that was written by Mr. Burton. The original intention of the poem was to make it into a short film / like Halloween Christmas special for Disney. They passed, but they still bought the rights. So then he was kind of like, well, maybe we'll make it into a children's book one day. Maybe we'll do something with it. And then it wasn't until the success of Beetlejuice and Batman that they suddenly reconsidered.
Hey, this guy's a moneymaker.
Yeah. On that note, Disney, originally considered the film way too dark for their main brand. And when it was first released, it came out under their subsidiary, Touchstone Pictures.
Touchstone, yep.
It wasn't until many years later when the film had garnished a massive following and, as I said, massive fucking IP where you can't walk 10 feet without seeing Jack Skellington on somebody's book bag.
Yep.
That's when they decided to re-release the film in theaters again under the official Disney label.
But of course.
You talked about how many animators and sound stages, but there were exactly 109,444 individual frames of footage taken to animate this movie.
Jesus.
I know this is an audio podcast. Just watched the sheer dread and malaise wash over Luke.
I am an animator myself, and I 100,000. Yeah, I can. With 120 people working on it, that's still a lot.
Yeah.
Still a lot.
The figurine of Jack, which going back to my Ring Day pairing, the figurine of Jack actually makes a cameo in Selick's next big budget film, James the Giant Peach.
Right on. I still got to watch that. We were talking about that off mic, but yeah.
This is the first animated film to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Visual Effects.
Nice.
But, it's sadly lost and understandably lost to Jurassic Park.
Those fuckers.
I know. I don't know how you beat big dinosaur, Tiny model, big dinosaur.
Spielberg or goth nerd film.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then my final big fact is, once conceptualizing was finished, old Timmy B was relatively hands-off. Apparently he spent less than 10 days on set.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So it took 3 years to make. And in 3 years, he was there like maybe 8 days.
And then he swooped in and put his big old name on it.
Tim Burton presents The Nightmare Before Christmas.
What a fucker.
And then my only alt casting, Luke already touched on earlier. Sadly, Vincent Price was originally supposed to do some of the narration for the film and was originally cast as Santa Claus.
Oh, nice.
But due to his declining health, he had to drop out.
Yeah, he had, I think he had passed away like 3 weeks before they started recording. Some tragic like that.
Yeah, I can't do a Vincent Price, but can you imagine him being Santa?
Hell yeah.
He's so fucking good.
If you watch Vincent, he narrates the entire thing. It's awesome. Yeah, he's the inventor in Edward Scissorhands. I think that was his last Tim Burton film. Yeah. Right.
Rest in peace, Vincent.
Yeah. If you or anybody like delves into the history and just what Vincent Price gave to us, we owe him everything that we love about Halloween and the darkness. There's the old Hammer movies, the old Dracula and monsters and stuff, but Vincent Price put a voice to it, and his voice was just that chilling. It was him. It was the guy. It was the guy we needed. Usual Suspects.
Yeah, I got 3.
Me too. Probably the same ones.
Because
it's like
it's an animated movie.
There's not that many people in this. No. I thought there were more, but like Danny Elfman and a few of the others voiced a lot of the different characters. I was surprised. It was not like they were trying to save money.
No.
But I got Paul Rubens as Locke.
Yeah.
The little red kid with the devil face. Glenn Shaddix.
Yeah, rest in peace, Glenny boy.
Yeah. He was Otho in Beetlejuice. And then someone I love very dearly is Catherine O'Hara.
Which this blew my mind. I grew up with this movie. I had no idea she was Sally.
I think they must have altered her a tiny bit. Because it's not exactly...
She's so...
And she does her voice and sings.
Yeah.
Whereas Elfman and
Chris Sarandon.
Sarandon.
Oh, yeah. Chris, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, exactly.
Advert's advertisement, Chuck. Oh, advertisement. Oh, yes. So Chris Sarandon.
Yeah. So whereas Elfman and Sarandon had to share the duties of Jack, Catherine O'Hara did like full duties. Yeah. And she did amazing. And she sang beautifully.
Mind blower.
Yeah, an obvious just talent. I'm glad she's in this. I also didn't realize it was her.
Same thing with I didn't know Paul Rubens was in this either.
He's very difficult to make out.
Yeah,
in the voices, whatever they did to change it. But
exactly, he's kind of doing he's doing the more nasally Pee Wee thing.
Yeah,
but kind of.
But he's in every Tim Burton movie except Edward Scissorhands. Yeah. Those are the 3 I got. Those are the ones you had?
That's what I had.
Because there's so few people in this.
Well, also, I was going to say something about this at the top of the show. This is our first animated film. So it's aside from voice work, there's not a whole lot,
Yeah, I guess.
You can really pick from.
One person of note, Greg Proops.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see him. This is very early in his career.
Yeah. I actually have him later on as my Channing Tatum. Yeah.
Right on. Very good. Very good. I should have put him as mine.
That's all good.
Yeah. I think we can actually get on the podcast.
I would love that.
Not that I'm saying we have clout or anything, or that he's not busy, because he is, but he's such a nice guy. He does stand up in Sacramento every now and again with my friend Keith. So they know each other, and Keith's yeah, he's the nicest dude ever.
That'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah, it would be great if we can get him on the show. Go to our Patreon and listen more. Speaking of which, I'd like to take this moment to thank our executive producer, Addie Martinez.
That's right.
Thank you as always, Addie. And you should support us more. For $15 a month, you get to have your name shouted out.
Exactly.
You get to give us money that we use, not for drugs. We don't even spend it on the booze.
No, unfortunately, Chuck's buying the booze.
Chuck's buying the booze, being executive producer.
Yeah. Just because Addie Martinez, who we love and appreciate and adore, is the Pumpkin King this episode, doesn't mean she has to be next episode. Sorry, Addie. But yeah, if you would like to be the mayor of Halloween Town, $15 a month, we'll give you a shout out.
Oh, I don't know if we can hand that out. Let's go.
Look, I've got connections in Halloween Town. All right, don't listen to Luke.
Let's go and take our second ad break.
Ad break.
And we're back with Act 3 of the award categories. We start with my new band name. Since there's only 2 of us, you should just fucking let her rip.
I know, right? Unfortunately, I only have 3.
Oh, damn.
I know. I keep neutering myself.
You've been trained.
I have.
I've only got 1. But,
Pavlovian's dog's got nothing on me, man. Do you want to intermit yours in between, or do you want me to just...
That's fine. I'll just go. I just got jellied brains. That's like the phrase that I remember from the movie. That's when they're talking about how thick the fog is. When he's trying to get ready to fly before Zero's nose shows up. Just one of the characters says like, this fog's as thick as jellied brains. And it's like a Rob Zombie band. Yeah. Just like genre. It's just schlocky horror rock.
Yeah. Just heavy sludge guitar.
Jelly brains.
I've got 3. And they're honestly like just some of my favorite quotes from the whole movie. I've got Ooze and Crawl. They're a blues rock 2-piece, kind of like a Black Keys kind of thing. Their direct quote is, "You made wounds ooze and flesh crawl, Jack." Yeah. It's like, when they're building him up as like, oh my God, you're the greatest pumpkin king ever this year. Incompetent, which is hard to say. So cross between incompetent and an incumbent. Okay. Incompetent. They're a political punk band, and it's in reference to the mayor. When the mayor says, "Jack, I'm only an elected official. I can't make decisions by myself."
That's a great jab at politicians.
Yeah,
right there.
it's like that's like a borderline like Simpsons joke. It's just yeah, it's so good.
Yep, very much.
And then my final one is Behind the Cyclops Eye. They're a psych rock band, and it's my favorite quote. And it's not my favorite quote because of the actual phrase. It's my favorite quote because of the inflection. It's said by the vampires when they're trying to find Jack. So I'll just try and say it in the tone of the vampires. "I peeked behind the Cyclops eye. I did, but he wasn't there." It's very like lilty and very It's very very frilly lace boy, and I've always loved it ever since I was a small child.
Next, we have a ghost category, that one that we got rid of, but I mistakenly kept it in and wrote something down for it. It's the updated movie title.
Is the category in the room with us now, Luke?
Tap twice if it is. Oh my God!
I didn't move it. You moved it.
I've got it's kind of it's just tongue in cheek, but those songs are from a movie. Every year we do the Halloween cover show at the Phoenix, and like in the run up, like there's music playing, and they play a lot of these songs over and over. And I have to think a lot of the kids that go there probably don't know that the songs are from a movie. Yeah. If they haven't seen, I'm sure they've seen like this movie. It's like the music has lived on more than the movie itself, I think.
Like I'm sure there's not like 12-year-olds at the Phoenix show being like, oh yeah,
because there's 1,000 Christmas songs. There's no really Halloween songs until this came around. This is the Halloween soundtrack.
I know. The guy who wrote Monster Mash must have been so fucking pissed off when this came out. It's like, I had a fucking monopoly on a holiday. You ruined it.
Yep.
Well, unfortunately, this category is dead and buried, so I didn't come up with anything.
Onto the Roger Deakins Would Be Proud Award. So many, man.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus. The movie?
Yeah, the movie.
Just the fucking feat of animation and camera design and lighting and, oh, God.
It deserves to be in the pantheon that it's in with the amount of work that went into it. And obviously the product that came out of it.
Yeah.
But Jesus, man.
It's also like animation has always, I mean, just as a concept has always blown my mind. But in an animated film, when you have homages and choices made as far as camera work and camera design is concerned, like when it's like, oh no, like we're going to perfectly recreate this like shot by shot homage to Jaws or whatever's going on. It's always just like such a, I can't move my fucking like phone camera correctly to try and like take a good enough reel to post. Like how are you doing this like digitally or painstakingly with hand drawn images, or in this case little tiny miniatures that you're moving a quarter of an inch photographing like that's what I can't. It's like Jesus Christ, to make like one pan in this movie took like 9 weeks. It's just oh, God.
Yeah, I think it was in the behind the scenes or the making of featurette. I think it was the art director was talking about how they made one of the sets. They went through the design, they drew it all up, and they decided like all the different shots they would need, and they made it like a model of it. And then they figured out where they needed to break the model up in order to fit it through the door to get to the soundstage. But then he said, after we did that, we sent it over to art department who painted it all up. There was people doing one thing, and then the whole department did the painting and like that design and stuff. That's like mind boggling nowadays, kind of when everything's, done digitally and green screen. But there were departments of people that everything had to run through from start to finish.
God,
there's so much effort went into this.
Yeah.
So much.
Nowadays it's like 12 animators and a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
What are some of your shots? I narrowed mine down to 4.
Okay. I've got one that stood out to me as someone who's kind of been through this stuff and kind of understands how this kind of animation works. When Sally is sewing herself back together.
I love that shot.
The arm, the one where she does the final tug and the arm comes back and like gets back together. I don't know how they did that. I mean, I understand claymation and all that, but like normally there's a skeleton inside the thing that you're moving. Mm-hmm. They went from seeing through it to pulling the threads running through the holes to her arm coming up and then starting to move and animate it. Dude, that for me, that just like blew my mind. Aside from all the other magic that's going on throughout all of this movie, every single frame of this is magic, but that right there I think may have been the hardest thing they had to overcome.
I know it's editing because it's it's animation. The pull, like in my mind, these are like 2 actual sets that they're just going through, which you can't physically be doing because you got to be moving every single little meticulous thing. But the pullback from Jack's tower to Sally's room, just like the widest wide reverse.
Yeah.
And you just go straight from like Jack tinkering like, seamlessly into Sally tinkering. And it's beautiful. Of course, just, the iconic uncurling hilltop pan that just, takes my breath away every time it happens. Magic. It's so magical. And then the match cuts from the Jack in the Boxes.
Yeah.
So you match cut from Santa and his elves building these beautiful, meticulous, glistening toys to like what our Buds and Halloween Town are doing.
Yeah.
And there's 2 specifically. Yeah. It's the Jack in the Box stuffing. And then it's the sleigh lowering the, plumes and towers of presents into Santa's sack. And then that's like cut to like, all of our garbage just being thrown on top of a coffin for Jack, basically. That's so good. And then my final one is Santa's POV when he's dazed coming out of the kidnapping sack.
Oh yeah.
It's so good. It's like that's like eerie. That's like haunting. That's like a shot out of like Texas Chainsaw or something.
Exactly. It's like, so dark.
Yeah. That's like one of those like wake up, like you're not in Kansas anymore, darling, kind of thing. Like that could be in House of a Thousand Corpses. Like
yes. That's
like when a cheerleader wakes up and it's just like, where am I, mister?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's the most beautiful line too. Like, and it's just like, surprised? I knew you would be. Like, it's just so like, ugh. Like this is a children's movie, right? This for kids? Because Santa's in big trouble.
Yeah, this whole thing's magical. There are many, many moments.
Oh man!
But on to is that Channing Tatum in a dog collar award?
Shot my shot earlier. But yeah, I have Greg Proops. I know him personally from Whose Line Is It Anyway? But yeah, he plays just like a handful of random like background voices, like most notably like the Devil and like the Harlequins and stuff like that. And yeah, that was just such a fun little weird one. And then of course, you've got your heavy hitter ones that I don't want to spoil if you've got some, but
I just got Otho.
Yes.
Is that Otho?
Exactly. And then I touched on, Sally. That one blew me the fuck away. I was like, no way. I've seen this movie 1,000 times. That's Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah. I just rewatched Home Alone too. So like her like mannerisms are very fresh in my mind. And like watching this, like putting her to Sally was weird.
I love that woman. Like she is my childhood. Like just from Beetlejuice to this to Home Alone. Like I think like as far as like starstruck kind of stuff, like cause like being a bartender and server and stuff like that, I have I've met a couple people, like no one that I'm like dead over heels in love with, but like if she walked into a room, I don't think I could do anything. I think I would just be like, I'd just like drop a cup.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep.
She would be one of those like where it's like, hey, I'd like to, can I order a martini from you? And I'd just giggle and like, be like let me touch your face. It'd have to be removed from the building. Like it would just be one of those where it's like, all right, lost my job. Sorry. Not paying rent, I guess, because Catherine O'Hara walked in.
Right on. On to, it's a sailboat.
Yeah, I've got, in my, I promised the liberal arts degree, it's here. I've got 2. I don't know if you want to start, I can jump in otherwise.
I just got like always listen to Sally the first time.
Yeah.
Like half of this movie would have been half as long.
Exactly.
If Jack would have just been like, oh yeah, really? Okay. It's off.
Oh, I shouldn't just go on this like fucking insane Don Quixote voyage.
Yeah.
Like I should listen to reason. Oh, okay. Reason's cool. Yeah, mine are not fun. Mine are the bastardization and cultural appropriation of other societies and their beliefs hurt everyone involved. Because it's Jack and his fucking like gung-ho bone white privilege, stealing someone else's culture and not understanding it. And just like, oh, I can do Christmas too without, understanding the repercussions of that. And then my other big one is on that same kind of thing is when you force something, you ultimately rob whatever joy you originally found within it.
Yep.
So it's like, no, guys, we're doing Christmas. And it's like, okay, what is that? I said we're doing Christmas. What about, we're good at Halloween. We're doing Christmas this year.
Yep. Yeah. You're going to like it.
And you're going to love it.
On to the Hans Gruber Death Fall Award. I mean, mine's pretty obvious, but Oogie Boogie, if I'd have seen this as a kid, it might have given me nightmares.
Oh, yeah.
Like how grotesque was the death of this guy, of the sack being ripped off and all the bugs falling out.
Falling and melting in like molten lava?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was one of the shots, I don't know if you know, but it's the only live action shots, like, because they couldn't do the splashes. So like if you watch the bugs falling in, that's like actually 24 frames a second. Like,
that's super fun. I had no idea.
Yeah. It's the ones like there's only two in the movie. I forget what the other one is, but I noticed it.
Oh, that's, I guess, really quick on the subject of Oogie Boogie. I guess I should have put this more in the fun fact category, but Oogie Boogie, his whole like demeanor and animation and his whole thing was based off of Cab Calloway, like Minnie the Moocher, Betty Boop animations.
Oh, yeah.
Tim Burton was like, because he did have, as little as he did, he also had full creative control and whatnot. That was one of his big, like, I want an homage to like the Betty Boop, Minnie the Moocher, that whole fun kind of rotoscoped thing.
That was kind of a running theme in the 80s, which I kind of appreciate. There was like the Blues Brothers was another kind of like franchise that like brought up all these great jazz musicians and artists from the 60s and 70s and like promoted them. But yeah, the Oogie Boogie thing was very much a Cab Calloway.
Also, I love the message behind Oogie Boogie's death, that it's like person of some power who is just, being disgusting and, forceful and all of these awful things. And at the end of the day, all they really are is a tiny, tiny little bug.
Yeah.
Just an insecure little insect that you can stomp on at any moment. For my Hans Gruber, I had the death of Jack's dream and his Icarus fall back to Earth. Just because I was like, I was also like, I thought there was going to be like 8 of us on this podcast. So I was like, I'll let everybody else have Oogie Boogie. Sure. Go with something else.
On to our controversial hot takes.
Yeah, you said one that was going to get us canceled. You might have one that can get us sued or canceled, possibly. Not to build it up.
Do you want to go first?
Sure.
What's yours?
All right. Well, while we still have a show, I've got just 2. One is like, Halloween night would lose some of its like mediocrity, because like that's Jack's whole thing is just like, we do this every fucking year.
Yeah.
Every fucking year. I am the Pumpkin King. It's like, let others be the Pumpkin King. Let the goopy dude. I don't even know his name, but like I love that character. That character also, just his animation is always like just astounded me, because like he's just dripping the entire time.
Oh, so much fucking work.
I know. So it's like the dedication to just being like, no, there's gonna be a drippy guy.
Yep.
So every frame, while everything else is going on that you have to painstakingly pay attention to and animate, you also have to make tiny drops of clay fall off this man. Yeah, let that guy win once. And then my other one is, Jack's lust for Christmas is really an allegory for wanting to escape from poverty and a broken home life. He's used to a world of broken glass and horrific imagery and like literal death everywhere. Mm-hmm. And then you get to like, you get to look in the window and you see people eating like roast goose and I getting tucked into their beds. And he's like, oh, wait a minute. It doesn't. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a Halloween guy through and through.
I'm the king of that shit.
I'm the king of that shit. But you're telling me I don't have to sleep on a bed of nails and I don't have to eat worms for breakfast?
it could be warm.
It could be warm.
With lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like totally a mom kissing like a child elf and tucking it in and stuff. Like, yeah.
You have ruined this movie for me.
I don't know.
You didn't ruin it. But I will think of that next time I watch it for sure.
Yeah.
That's I can see that.
And that might even be why this movie resonated with me so much as a kid, because I grew up super poor. So I was just like, oh yeah, dude, I want Christmas Town too. I get you, Jack. I understand, man.
Mine is Danny Elfman makes me feel icky. There's a lot of reasons. There's the whole Scientology thing.
I didn't know he was a Scientologist.
Oh yeah, all the Elfmans, Danny, Jenna,
Richard.
Yep, they've all been in it since almost like the 80s, I think.
Oh man.
I know. Sorry. Sorry to everybody who was listening to this too. Anytime you bought this movie or went to go see it, you're giving money to Scientology.
Boo.
Yeah. I don't think anyone else involved in the film was necessarily. I think. I don't know if Henry was. Or is. But this is one thing that I study and follow just because I'm interested in cults. I find them completely fucking weird. It's one of my guilty pleasures. Danny Elfman and Beck. Like,
I was back a Scientologist too. Damn it!
He was born into it. I don't think he's like really like into like going to doing all the stuff.
Well, I used to love him. Now I wish he would take that cyanide breath mint.
I know. And like, every time I watched this movie, I forgot that it was Danny Elfman. And then every time I remember that it's him, or I see his movie in it or his name like on the credits, or I'm like, oh.
This movie's so rooted for me that I kind of just gotta separate the art from the artist, because I'm just like, that's just too much childhood to deprogram. I'm sorry.
Same with Tim Burton too. Like as much as I kind of despise him now, his art was great, and it like informed my entire like life and art and like appreciation and all that stuff. So. And then if you watch him now, he's one of these older, super wealthy guys who just won't let the hair go. If you watch him behind the scenes for this film, you can tell he's going bald. But like anything you watch after it, a really bad, weird comb over. To each their own, you know? But and I thought of another one while we were talking about this. Wasn't he involved in it was not Forbidden Zone or yeah. Oh my God. The same people who made that really, really problematic.
Oh yeah, very problematic. I have said this before. I was like, one day we will do that movie on this podcast and it'll get canceled, because I love that movie. I
love that movie too, but it's so disturbing to find out that who was behind this and like your childhood basically.
That's one. I mean, I don't know. With Forbidden Zone, I'm not going to make apologies for the racism and terrible shit that happens in that movie. But I will say the fact that Danny Elfman plays Satan that's something I hold near and dear to my heart.
Oh God. Well, hopefully that hasn't all got us canceled or sued.
Oh, you don't want to take on the Church of Scientology on a podcast with
So our Patreon, folks, is patreon.com/the Nostalgia Killers. Help us with our legal fees.
Yeah, you can help us get unblacklisted.
Yeah. Or stop them from harassing us with phony lawsuits. And yeah. I'm just like, I read a whole bunch of other things about the Masterson thing that happened. Do you remember Danny Masterson?
Oh yeah, I know about that.
I
know that whole thing.
This might get cut because it's kind of dumb and off topic, but like he has something like a collection of over 100 guns. Oh, and like 26 of them are missing. So he was supposed to turn them in because he was going to jail. There's like no accounting for all these weapons.
Jesus. Yeah. Oh,
allegedly.
Speaking of upsetting things, allegedly too, that might get cut. Campbell, who I think Blood Feud is off, might be on. I don't know.
He said it's off.
He said it's off, but also I think he might have said it was on off mic. Who's Blood Feuds? Where do we stand?
Can't get a read on that guy.
Can't get a read on that guy. No, we love you, Campbell. I'd love to have you back on, of course.
Yep, always.
But no, he told me, he was like, something that we didn't touch on the Rush Hour episode, which I was like, oh no, is Chris Tucker apparently very involved in the Epstein Island, like his name is on the list.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I had no idea.
God, can't we have anything good?
I know, right? Sorry, I felt like a little tit for tat there. You took...
no, that's fine.
You took Mr. Elfman away from me. I'm going to take Mr. Tucker away from you.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, on to sunnier, greener pastures. Is it time for another one of these? Should we remake Nightmare Before Christmas? Is it time for another Spider-Man?
I thought Corpse Bride was fine.
Yeah.
We don't need
another one.
This the story, I don't think needs another thing, no matter how it's made.
No.
And then the gargantuan idea of how much work went into just making this. I would say no.
Yeah, I don't think we can legally make a nightmare. I mean, he'll probably go back on his word, but like Tim Burton has stated that like it was in the basically the contract and whatnot. It's like, nope, this is a one and done. You are not making another Nightmare Before Christmas. I wrote one fucking poem that you didn't want to buy to start. I'm not writing a second poem that you're not going to buy.
Right.
But as a little kid, I remember always wanting like, dude, what's behind those other doors? Yes. I always wanted the Nightmare Before Easter and like, Nightmare Before Thanksgiving and all that kind of stuff.
Yep. Oh, I'm gonna be curious to what they put behind the Thanksgiving door. Like, there's no mascot or
hopefully, yeah. In this town we call home. Everybody sing the genocide song. Yep,
there's that. Yeah. They should just cut to the Addams Family Values.
Yeah, exactly.
F camp.
Do you want a Kanye or not?
Yeah. We should do a Kanye. Here comes Kanye to interrupt the show, and we just need to plug that we have a Patreon. And that we're working very hard on our Cocktails and Mocktails book that we're going to print and make available for print on demand.
That's right. We're going to be authors.
Yeah, we're going to have an ISBN number attached to our names. And like, I don't want to spoil it now, but like, you're like the copyright guy because you wrote most of the stuff.
All right.
I'm just like the photographer and like, somewhat producer.
How many books do I have to sell to get into the Library of Congress?
I don't know, but I think we can get this one in there.
Hell yeah. Holy shit. Chucky's getting a wiki page.
That's right. Chuck's going to be a published author.
Yeah. You're included in this. You want to write a foreword and then boom.
We'll hash it out.
There we go.
Yeah. But yeah, we plan to have this available for purchase in December.
Yeah. So look forward to a cool, fun craft cocktail book from yours truly. And also, a couple other cocktails from some lovely folks who contributed to the show. And yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll make this like a yearly anthological thing.
I think we should. And I would love for the book to get really popular and famous. And people are like, what, a fucking podcast? What?
Yeah, exactly.
Is this attached to a podcast? But also we have our very own deck of playing cards coming out shortly.
That's right.
I'm expecting the prototype in a couple days. It's very exciting.
Hell yeah. Yeah. So if you play as many hands of cards as I do, which I play a lot of cards and weirdly, in all honesty, looking very, very forward to shuffling my own deck.
Yeah. We're working out the pricing. We're trying to get it under $100, which is a joke.
Yeah, exactly. And then I promise, I know people actually ask for these. I promise stickers, things like that, they will come very soon. We're just trying to figure that out.
Yeah. It's a quality thing. Like, we don't want to send it off to, print as you buy thing and you could just garbage.
Unless they want to sponsor us. In which case, stickerjunkie.com.
Yeah, I actually did start working next to a screen printing place. I need to walk across the street and be like, hey, can I work here at night?
Yeah.
Yeah, get a night job. But yeah, that's it for plugs for me. You got anything?
No, just this lovely, lovely podcast.
Yeah. Patreon.com/The Nostalgia Killers.
Yeah. Subscribe to us on all the social medias, the YouTubes, the Spotify's, the Apple Music,
Instagram.
Yeah. You name it, we're on it.
On to the Sonic Death Monkey Top 5.
So, what are your top 5 all-time movies about chasing a pipe dream?
You want to go back and forth?
You want to go back? Yeah, that sounds fun. Right. There's like 2 of us.
My number 5, Gattaca.
Ooh, I haven't seen Gattaca in a long time.
It's a good one. They filmed it out here.
Really?
Have you been like the San Rafael Courthouse?
Oh, no shit.
That's the set. Yeah, that's the set for the
I will always remember. It was like middle school or 9th grade. It was somewhere around there. Someone, it was like a creative writing assignment. And most of the time people are, you're nervous as shit because you're super pubescent in like 7th, 8th grade and like all that. We had to like get up in front of class and like read our like creative writing. Or some kid reading, wasn't me, I promise. No, this isn't a cop out. Some kid. And then I was that boy. No, some kid read a story. And then this very like nerdy kid who was probably like realistically, now that I have more knowledge, probably lightly on the spectrum and stuff, was just like, that's Gattaca.
Yeah.
And then the kid was like, no, I wrote this. And then the kid was like, it's Gattaca. And then it was just this like very awkward, like Gattaca. And then just like, it was like, Yeah, just got shut
no.
down, unfortunately, in front of like the entire class. And I don't think anyone won this one because I remember neither child was very liked. So it was just like the two nerds in class fighting, basically.
Somebody
and it's like, all right, somebody settle down.
Jesus. How about your number 5?
My number 5 is Scarface.
Ooh.
Yeah. Which is weird to say that's number 5 because it only gets stranger from here. But yeah, Scarface definitely, it's classic rags to rags story. If old Tony would have not gotten high on his own supply, he would have probably done just fine.
Fucking drugs, man.
Yeah.
Every time. My number 4 is Rushmore.
Yeah.
Just trying to be that guy, that pipe dream of being wealthy.
Exactly.
From being poor. Yep. Over and over and over.
I love Rushmore.
Yeah.
We need to do a Wes Anderson movie soon.
Dude, I can't believe we haven't done one.
I know, that's what I mean. It's weird.
We should do one a month.
I know. I mean, he's got that many.
I know.
My number 4 is Ratatouille.
Nice.
Because, it's quite a pipe dream for a rat to want to be a Michelin star chef in France.
I don't know if this is the first time we've mentioned a movie with Patton Oswalt in it, but like that's my favorite comedian and writer is Patton. And the idea that he was in that movie.
Yeah. No, I love that bit where he's like, I think he says he's on acid on Halloween. And just like, yeah, it's like someone comes to his door and he couldn't help but like, just like he had to stifle all of his energy because he was just like, it took all of my being to not tell this child that they're inside me right now.
We're on 3?
Yeah, number 3.
Number 3. And I don't know if you've watched this yet, but The Kid Detective.
No, I have not. Dude. You've recommended it, but I have not watched it because I'm a piece of shit.
You are a piece of shit. Kid, I think in like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, whatever, really wants to be a PI. And he's like one of the smartest kids in his class. And he's like gets supported by his family and the people around. He's always solving people's problems. And then age happens. He gets older, and like the town turns on him. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but it's like one of the funniest fucking things I have seen. And like it's not it's a celebration of failure, the whole thing. And it's just funny. And he's constantly trying to get that sensation back of solving the crime, solving the case. That's the pipe dream. I'll tie you down sometime.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
make you.
If I don't, how about this? Pinky promise. If I don't watch it in the next month, we have to do it on the podcast, and it's just like an initiation episode.
There you go.
Here we go.
Yeah.
My number 3 is American Movie. That's the Mark Borchardt and trying to.
Oh yeah, those guys. Yeah.
The documentary.
Fuck yeah.
So fucking good. Which also Never Meet Your Heroes. I met him at like a Q&A.
Oh no.
Yeah. He played Coven at a local theater here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like around Halloween, and I was like, holy shit, I have to go. Like I'm not missing this for the world. And I went and he did a Q&A, and I like was like I was super nervous. I was super excited to ask him. First I met him and he signed my copy of American Movie, which I still have.
Nice.
But I was like, hey man, just honestly speaking, as a filmmaker, sometimes I get super down on myself and think like, I start projects and I'm like, I'm so fucking, I'm a hack. Like this is terrible. Da da da. I want to know, how do you keep those thoughts out of your head? Because like if you watch the movie, he's just got this indomitable spirit. Like he's just like, you just got to keep keeping on, man. Life's a garden, dig it. Like he's that kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah. And I just want you to know, like your work is an inspiration for me in that sense, that like every time I forget, I'm like, no, he finished Coven. You can finish this short film. And then he was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what kind of fucking woo-woo, like weirdo, like did it like in front of everybody. He was just like, yeah, man. He's like, I don't have those feelings. I don't have those thoughts. Sorry, you're like a loser.
Fucking kidding me? No. Oh my God.
It was great though, because it was also just like,
was it just doing it in character or?
I don't know.
Oh my God.
Because that's the thing, is I don't know if it was, but either way, it was just one of those, like I was like, oh, you're like a real, it was just like, you're just Joe Dirt. Like you're a real Joe Dirt.
That would be crushing, dude.
It was a little bit, but it was also hilarious. But for anyone who listens, sorry, on that full tangent, anyone who doesn't know what American Movie is, yeah, it's two guys set out to make a film, realize they can't make said film without money. So then they decide to finish a short film they started years ago. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's a process of them trying to make this like really gritty, basically like allegory for alcoholism horror movie. That kind of like, it's, yeah, the movie's actually turns out to be not bad, but the documentary is where it's at. It's so fucking
good. Number 2, Rounders.
Oh, Yeah.
Chasing that win.
Chasing the wind.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I probably watch Rounders twice a month.
Hell yeah.
It's just something I have on, like, I bought on YouTube. So it's like on the top of my list all the time. And yeah, I just turn it on in the background. It's just running all the time. I want to make a Rounders. I want to make something that good. That's my pipe dream right there.
Yeah, there you go.
It's tied into that. What's yours?
My number 2 is another documentary, an even weirder documentary. And this is the pipest of pipe dreams because it's actually about doing something with your pipe. It's called The Final Member. So basically in Iceland, there is a penis museum.
Yeah, I know about it.
And when the documentary was being made, they have basically a penis from every single mammal.
Yep.
Except for a human being, for very obvious reasons, theft of a corpse and defiling, and just like also, like you can't take a penis off someone that's alive, like, it's,
right.
Mutilation, all that kind of fun stuff. And so Iceland they approach this, basically the people who own the museum approach this Lothario who lives on the island. And he's, slept with, he's like Walt Chamberlain, basically. Like he's slept with 300 women or something. So it's like, okay, yeah, haha, like we'll get that guy's dick like when he dies. He's like in his 70s. Mm-hmm. There's this psychotic American who hears about this and is like, I'll do it now. And they're like, what? And he is willingly he's like only in his like 30s and he's willingly going to donate his penis because he's just that egotistical.
Wow.
That he wants his dick on display. And so then it becomes a battle between this old man who was promised this seat, like, post-mortem.
Right.
And then this like sociopath from Texas. And it's so fucking good, and I won't spoil who wins, but yeah, it's so well done too.
You said it was called The Final Member?
The Final Member.
That's great. That's great innuendo. My number 1, Mumford.
I don't know Mumford.
I've mentioned it a couple times. I don't think anyone knows Mumford. Filmed in and around Petaluma and Sonoma. Jason Lee. There's quite a few people in it. Hope Davis. We'll probably watch it like back to back with The Kid Detective.
Here we go.
Very similar kind of deal. Not spoiling it too much, well, maybe a little bit, but there's a guy who's a psychiatrist who isn't really a psychiatrist, but he ends up helping people a lot more than the actual doctors in the same town. And it's all, I mean, it's filmed in and around this area. There's a lot of shots in Petaluma that we can just recreate if we ever cover it on the podcast. But I love this movie. Another movie I watch over and over again, not just because it's filmed, where I can go and look where they were and stuff. Yeah, another kind of a pipe dream movie, like where someone's trying to reach that life that they've always wanted, to leave their past or whatever, and just, yeah, gonna make you watch these movies.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna tie me down Alex style in Clockwork Orange.
That's right.
And then my number 1, Showgirls.
Oh my God!
Talk about a pipe dream.
Oh Jesus!
Traveling from rural, I don't even know if they say where she's from, but it's rural South to Las Vegas, the glittery lights and glamour.
It was supposed to be, she couldn't quite do the accent. So no. It was like jumping around a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But yeah, fuck. God, what a masterpiece. Paul Verhoeven, yeah, that man like lives and breathes satire.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand that, then you will never understand one of his movies. Like, yeah he's, oh God, but Showgirls is up there. Like just the sheer fact that it's like, also like aside from being incredibly fun and funny and campy and amazing and full of nudity that definitely shaped me as a young man. It's just like the fact that it's such a like career killer too is like so rough, where it's like that's also part of why it has to be my number 1 pipe dream, because it's like, oh man, Elizabeth Berkley had a pipe dream of being a famous actress and then she did Showgirls. So, Kyle MacLachlan, like, thank God he hitched a ride with David Lynch, because that was gonna really throw some dirt on his coffin too. Yeah,
like everyone kind of faded away after that one. Oh my God, I didn't even think about that.
It's like, I'm pretty sure like Paul Verhoeven, like if it wasn't for the fact that someone was like smoking a cigar in like a boardroom, was like, no, he made RoboCop.
Yeah, if he didn't have RoboCop under his belt, he never would have gotten Starship Troopers after.
Exactly.
Showgirls.
Look, he's gonna make Space RoboCop. We gotta give him $20 million.
That's great. That's another one I kind of want to rewatch. I haven't seen
that's
that in a long
high
time.
up on my, like, I want to do that on this podcast bad.
Cool. On to who won The Nightmare Before Christmas?
I personally, I have to give it, he didn't win in life, but just like, I want to honor the man, Henry Selick.
Yeah.
Like, he does not get enough credit for this fucking movie. I mean, he gets a director card at the very end, but that's also, it's never been Henry Selick presents The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's also one of those, like, that's a trivia question that most people will lose. Like, if you like went to like just pub trivia somewhere, it's like,
exactly.
Who directed Nightmare Before Christmas? It's like, Tim Burton.
Tim Burton,
Duh. Easy 10 points. And then it's like, nope.
I could agree with that. I got Catherine O'Hara. Just knocked it out of the park.
Yeah,
the mood, the voice, the singing, the fact that she's amazing. Mm-hmm. The fact that if she was in the same room with you, that you would just reach out and touch her face.
Yeah.
Let me touch you.
We're right. Not in a weird way, not in a sexual way. Just to clarify, we're talking about canceled actors. I'm not, no, not like that. Like just more like a sheer like, like when you see a golden light and you're like a moth to a flame. You're like, what is that thing? Like Jack touching snow for the first time when he steps into Christmas Town and not understanding what it is other than glorious, benevolent, golden beauty.
Yeah, you can try to dig your way out of that.
I know. It's okay. I've said enough things on this show.
Onto the verdict. We don't have the power to do anything other than let this live.
No, this is a goddamn masterpiece.
Yeah, this is seminal. Like before and after, nothing matches it.
No, if it wasn't, even if it lacked like phenomenal voice acting and music, like you could, if you just put this on mute, like you can just sit in awe. Yeah. And then it's the other side of the coin too. Like you don't even need the breathtaking animation. Like you can listen to the soundtrack of this and have just as good a time.
Yep. I didn't get a chance to go into the music more, and I kind of don't want to now because I don't feel like I have the authority to speak on it.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll do that on the post show. Just a little bit. If you're still listening, thank you. This was fun.
Yeah.
Please consider supporting us on Patreon. You don't have to be an executive producer. You can just be like a normal person that you can subscribe for free.
Yeah.
But also for $5 a month, you could support us.
Yeah, you can buy us a cup of coffee.
And you get access to, exactly. You get access to the post show. You can listen to us talk shit. I mean, as far as the numbers go, I think only one person has actually listened to the post shows, like gone into them. So like only one person knows like all the trash we talk and all the.
You want some tea spilled?
Yeah. There you go.
$5 a month.
And I have been Luc Londe.
I have been Chuck Starzenski.
And we have been the Nostalgia Killers.
Bang, bang.